What are the different factors affecting your oyster mushroom growth? Hello guys! Welcome to Wonder Farm Oyster Mushrooms. My name is Astrid Ngo. If this is your first time, it's a pleasure to meet you. And today, you're gonna discover the 6 factors affecting yung growth ng mga oyster mushrooms natin. And this is gonna be based on my 3 years experience and learnings in growing oyster mushrooms. So we're gonna run through them one by one. So number 1 would be the temperature, and yung number 2 is yung relative humidity. So na-mention ko na rin yung number 2 kasi they go hand in hand. And parang tag team tong dalawa na to. So kaya na-mention ko na rin yung number 2. So going back, yung temperature, unlike other mushroom varieties na kailangan malamig, so mga 23 degrees pababa, itong oyster mushrooms, they normally grow and thrive from a temperature that ranges from 24 degrees hanggang 30 degrees Celsius. While yung sa humidity aspect naman, they grow and thrive from humidity that is from 80% pataas. So they love a very humid environment. So to measure yung temperature and humidity in your growing area, you need to acquire a thermohygrometer. Yun, yung which measures yung both temperature and humidity. And this comes with either analog or digital type. What we use sa farm namin is yung analog na thermohygrometer to measure and check yung temperature and humidity sa growing area namin. So these two parameters have a major effect in the growth of your oyster mushrooms because pag hindi nami-meet yung mga figures na na-mention ko kanina, chances are yung oyster mushrooms natin will either not sprout or if ever na mag-sprout man siya, mabilis siya mag-dry up. So, to lower yung temperature and to increase yung humidity, you got to have a watering schedule in your growing area every day. So, pag mainit yung panahon, you can water your growing area 3 to 4 times a day. While pag tag-ulan naman, you can water your growing area 2 times a day na lang siya. So just make sure na yan, parating basa yung flooring, yung walls, or even yung ceiling para maging humid pa rin yung environment sa loob. And at the same time, mababa rin yung temperature sa growing area. I also learned from the previous workshops na naatinan ko before is that location plays an important factor in the temperature and humidity of the environment. So if you are growing oyster mushrooms in a highland area wherein it is medyo malamig at mahamog, so chances are yung mga harvest mong mga oyster mushroom is twice or thrice the quantity if you're growing oyster mushrooms sa lowland areas where it is moderately hot and dry. So, okay lang naman kung nasa lowland area ka, pero syempre, mas marami yung mga harvest mo pag nasa highland areas ka nagpapatubo ng mga oyster mushrooms. So, we now go to number 3 factor, which is yung light or yung liwanag. So, oyster mushrooms doesn't require direct sunlight naman, just indirect light para to keep it white in color. So, mga 10 to 12 hours of indirect light lang naman ang kailangan niya. So, you can add or install an incandescent or LED white na light inside your growing area, which can help para ma-meet yung lighting requirement ng oyster mushrooms natin. Or if wala naman, okay lang, just make sure lang na yung growing area niyo is yung tipong makakabasa ka ng magazine or newspaper inside na yun lang, yung mga ganong liwanag lang na pwede ka magbasa sa loob ng growing area mo. Okay na yun. So we now go to the number 4 factor, which is yung oxygen. So oyster mushrooms are just like us, humans, na kailangan natin ng oxygen para mabuhay. So hindi siya plants na kailangan ng carbon dioxide naman para mabuhay. So too much carbon dioxide sa loob ng growing area natin can hinder yung growth ng mga oyster mushrooms and also can cause some changes sa shape and size ng mga oyster mushrooms natin. So, a good ventilation is necessary para maganda yung air exchange sa loob ng growing area natin. Wherein, nakakapasok yung oxygen sa loob, at the same time, nakiklear out naman yung carbon dioxide na nai-emit ng mga oyster mushrooms natin. So, we now go to the fifth and second to the last factor na nakaka-affect sa oyster mushroom growth natin, which is yung water or yung tubig. So, oyster mushrooms require water para mabuhay. And just make sure na yung water natin ay hindi acidic. So, tap water will do. Then, this is what we use sa farm para sa pagdidilig namin ng mga oyster mushrooms. Although some mushroom growers practice na yung tap water nila, they store it sa mga drums and they overnight para to let the chlorine go down before using the water to spray it sa mga mushrooms nila. So either ways naman, based on our experience, we tried both. So far okay naman, wala naman naging problem sa dalawang practice na yan. So you can do either of the two naman, no problem. So we now go to the last of the 6 factors, which is yung nutrients found in the substrate inside our mushroom bags. So the substrate is ito yung medium kung saan tumutubo yung oyster mushrooms natin. So it is very important that yung substrate contains the right basic ingredients that are mixed properly and also pasteurized properly para to prevent any contaminations and for a healthy oyster mushroom growth. So let's have a recap ng 6 factors. So number 1 would be the temperature. Number 2 is relative humidity. Number 3, light. Number 4, oxygen. Number 5, water. And lastly, the nutrients in the substrate ng mushroom bags natin. So I hope this video has helped you and given you value. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you on the next video. If you found this video helpful in any ways, feel free to like and share this video with a friend. Also, if you haven't done so, please do subscribe to my channel by clicking on the bell notification found below. Check out my other videos as well. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time on Wonder Farm Oyster Mushroom.